Residents in Italy have just reported a worrying event. They have said that thousands of birds mysteriously fell from the sky during New Year's Eve, and what's worrying is that this isn't the first time this has happened. At the moment, various different theories have been put forward for why these birds dropped to the ground, with local residents saying that birds in the area of Rome have been acting strange this year. One resident said the birds have been seen flying around in circles and not acting themselves, with others following on from this and saying that they're suddenly dropping from the sky, and that they're not sure what's caused the birds to act like this. This recent discovery states that thousands of birds started to drop from the sky in central Rome, and this was before, during and after fireworks were set off. The majority of the birds were discovered at the Termini train station, with motorists and residents being able to capture the aftermath of the event. Although some blame the fireworks on the birds dropping to the ground, others suggested that this isn't what caused them to fall. Going back in February, residents in Rome once again reported a worrying event. Hundreds of birds suddenly dropped to the ground. This news came shortly after police in North Wales investigated a similar occurrence. Fast forward 2 months and this was reported by residents in Rome. Strangely enough, residents reported that the birds acted very similar to those in Wales, saying that they were flying around in circles and then suddenly dropped to the ground. What's odd though is how many of these cases were happening so close to each other. As many have pointed out, it seems that these mass bird deaths are happening every other month, and as of right now no one seems to know why. Although researchers have given a variety of reasons why mass bird deaths can happen, it's unusual for them to be happening around the same time as each other. One resident in Rome said the following about the event. Me and my friend were close to the area when this happened. We could hear the birds going crazy and flying around in circles. I've lived in the area for years and I've never seen anything like this. No one seemed to be sure why they were acting this way. They were flying like this for over 45 minutes before they started to drop one by one. It was like something from a movie and was actually quite scary. It was like something was affecting them that we couldn't see." End quote. It's reported that hundreds of birds were found in Rome shortly after this event. One source reported that the reason these birds were dropping were due to strong winds. This explanation wasn't met with open arms. Scientists and researchers have investigated this phenomenon over the years, and different theories have been put forward to try and explain why these birds suddenly pass away. Various things can affect these birds. This ranges from electromagnetic currents to things like poisons. As some have said though, if these animals were poisoned, is it likely they would all drop at once, and in the same area as each other? In these situations, all of the birds can be found very close to each other. Some have said it's as if these birds were zapped with something, and whatever passed through them caused them to pass away on the spot. It does seem as though these cases have increased in the past year. Various reports have emerged from countries such as England, Wales, the Netherlands and now Italy, and these are only the ones we know about. Many eyewitnesses have said they've seen something similar, but that the majority of the time it doesn't get reported by the news. As of right now, it's clear that something is affecting these birds, with some pointing out that these cases could be linked to each other in some way. Perhaps our planet is changing, or perhaps we are the cause behind these events. According to the United States Geological Survey Wildlife Health Center, in the United States over 175 mass bird deaths have occurred, and this has happened in the last 10 years alone. What's confused some researchers though is that it's not always known why this happens, with various other countries reporting similar occurrences. Back in the middle of September, reports were made that another mass dive was happening in the southwestern area of the United States, and that it has some scientists confused and worried as to why this is happening. Various theories have been put forward to explain why this is happening, from the insects they eat to the air they're breathing, to wildlife and even other theories that suggest the magnetic field is playing up. Researchers said that the birds were not acting themselves. For example, not flying away when cars were driving towards them, and just in general being down, something that's not really seen in this area. It wasn't long before eyewitnesses came forward and said that the wildlife wasn't acting normal, and some birds were just falling from the sky. When local researchers saw the numbers, they only then got an idea of how bad this was getting, saying that already hundreds of thousands of birds are showing this strange behaviour, and that the number could go into the millions. Residents in Wales have detailed seeing birds acting strange, noting that native species seem to be on the decrease, with one person saying the following. In Ainsley, this was reported a while back, and this happened a few weeks after that initial event, but it didn't really get reported about. I discovered a few of these birds in my garden at the beginning of the year. What's strange though was during the middle of the night I could hear some loud noises. They sounded like loud booms, and I did say to my partner that this will likely disturb the local wildlife. However, the next morning there were 7 of these birds in my garden. I did talk to my neighbours about the booms, but they said that they didn't hear them, with my partner saying that they think it might have been the military. I'm not saying the two events are linked, but I just found it strange how these loud booms happened, and then I found the birds in my garden the following morning." End quote. As technology has continued to grow, we find that there are very few lost unexplored frontiers. Satellite imaging has helped to locate all of the lands on our planet, and has helped researchers peer deep into the oceans. Due to recent advancements, we've even been able to see what's hiding underneath dense jungles. This has in turn allowed us to uncover a wide number of impossible to explain artifacts in hidden cities. However, it appears that despite all of our technology, the deep forests of the world prevent many from exploring these areas further, and has meant that amateur researchers have made their way into these areas with the hopes of making their own discoveries. There's no shortage of mysterious photos. Due to social media, many of these photographs have been shared online, causing some to take it upon themselves to investigate them further. However, many of these remain unexplained as more information can't be gathered. One interesting photograph that's made the rounds on social media is this one, and it shows a strange man in the background of a woman's photo. The picture usually gets shared to paranormal groups on Facebook, asking if anyone can reveal more information about the photograph. In it, we can see a woman taking a photograph of herself out in the middle of some woods. However, in the background you can see a tall man looking directly at her. Some of the people that saw the image questioned what was standing behind her, with some saying that it doesn't look like she realized she was being watched. One person said that it could be someone who was following her, and as they were approaching she managed to photograph the individual, while others say the person looks like they're trying to dress like the Slender Man, and say that this post is most likely fake. Regardless, there's no shortage of these kinds of photographs, and some have said that when they've snapped the photos they didn't even realize they were being watched. Over the years, many of these photographs have been shared, and it's caused some to come forward and share their own stories. One person said the following about their strange encounter. "I remember when I was young, me and my friends would often visit our nearby woods. At the time we were teenagers and we'd always go to the woods a few times a week. We lived close to Elfin Forest in California, a place known for mysterious happenings, and although the forest is creepy when it gets dark, we never encountered anything up to this point. I remember that me and my friend headed there one evening when it was still light, and as we made our way to our spot, my friend said she noticed something off into the distance, saying that it looked like a tall man with a hat. When I tried to see what she was talking about though, I couldn't find the strange man. We joked about it, saying that it was probably one of the many ghosts that reside within the forest, and then we went on to our spot. After being here for just under an hour, we decided to make our way back as it was getting dark. Just before we left, I was talking to my friend and I noticed that something had caught her attention in the distance, and it was obviously something that had troubled her as her face went completely white. Without even turning around, it sent chills up my spine as I'd never seen this happen to anyone before, and it was almost like a sixth sense was telling me that we weren't alone. Before she could tell me what she'd locked eyes with, I quickly turned around, and standing around 20 feet from us was a tall man with a hat. I guessed that it was the same person that my friend had seen previously. This person had long arms and a gaunt face, but perhaps the most disturbing thing about this individual was that he had a huge smile on his face. We must have stared at him for at least 20 seconds, and during this time he didn't blink once. He just stood there and stared at us. We got up as quickly as we could and ran out the forest. When I turned around to see where he was, I could see that he was just slowly walking towards us, still smiling at us and not blinking. We got out of there as quickly as we could and didn't really say much on the way home. The encounter gave me chills as this person seemed to have just appeared out of nowhere, and something I can't get out my mind is how creepy the smile was, and the way he just slowly walked towards us. We've never gone back to that part of the forest." End quote. Another location that's said to be haunted is that of Doe Hill in India. The Doe Hill forest is plagued by a number of strange supernatural sightings and disappearances. Many locals and tourists alike have reported seeing children running through the forest at night, appearing to be deformed or startling in their appearance. However, these claims have only become more and more popular, as many skeptics flock to the site with the hopes of dismissing these claims, only to capture a tremendous amount of images and footage of school children running through the forest at night. Oddly enough, the Victoria Boys' School, located in that region and established in the 1800s, is rumoured to be the hotspot for paranormal activity from the forest. There are no faculty members that will work late at the school throughout the night, and janitors and other employees that are forced to work through the night tend to have a higher rate of turnover and quit their job. Many students during the day also report footsteps echoing throughout the corridors, doors slamming behind them, and even sightings of ghostly encounters in the locker rooms, with them saying that no one will go to the bathroom alone due to fear of seeing something. Additionally, given the history the school has had when connected to old British expansion, some have theorized that perhaps a darker history took place in the region, giving birth to such paranormal occurrences. Today, the number of strange reports have only grown in the area, with locals saying that it's not uncommon to see mysterious beings with red eyes running through the forest, loud screams that echo from tree to tree, and black shadow figures that suddenly appear in front of you, only to vanish just as quickly as they appeared. So what do you make of these stories? And have you ever encountered something strange while in a forest? Be sure to leave your questions and answers in the comment section below, and help us to grow this community while working to solve these unexplained mysteries. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for more videos.